Remember this time last year when everything was just kind of closing and it was an absolute shock that March Madness is going to get canceled because like a week before Rudy Gobert was touching all these microphones and stuff. And what happened? St. Patrick's Day was basically canceled because everything got shut down. And now here we are 1 year later. We still can't do anything. But
I'm still owed money on tickets to a Zach Brown Band concert that apparently is canceled, but they don't have the refund for. That's how long it's been. It's been a year. Apparently we're canceled, but we haven't gotten the money yet. So.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, but we're a little bit more normal because March Madness is back at least. So we have that this year. I personally am not a big college basketball fan. I'm not a big college sports guy in general. I know the big names, but that's about it. But March Madness is always fun to watch, even if you don't know the names, just because like the tournament style in general with like the single elimination is pretty cool. And it's always a fun tournament. It's always fun to see upsets early on. Like I think Ohio State's losing right now, as I would say this. I could be wrong. They might have pulled it back. But, yeah, it's a good tournament. It's fun. I don't really have much to say on it other than the fact that I think Gonzaga's a wagon. And I think that's probably the team that pulls it off. I don't know if you have much.
Well, first I'll start by saying it's incredibly ironic that you come wearing a Michigan sweater while knowing absolutely
college.
nothing.
I actually got this for free from my uncle because he's a big Michigan fan.
Yeah, awesome.
But the sweater, comfy as hell. I will wear it constantly.
I love the support, as you say, Gonzaga as well. It's awesome. It's really good.
I have no skin in any game, in any sport of college. I don't care.
Yeah. No, I usually just pick Gonzaga because of, I had somebody that I played high school basketball with, and he went and played there, which was pretty cool. So, it just kind of felt nice to support,
Yep.
And then if not, then usually the Oregon Ducks, because, like, come on, look at those
They're
jerseys.
sick.
Dude, they're the Ducks.
Duke is usually fun to cheer for, but Duke's not there this year.
First time in 26 years. I think we mentioned
That's insane.
Yeah, it's a weird year, I find it incredibly interesting how like sports has kind of just decided we're chugging along. It doesn't matter. Like we're still gonna have the March Madness tournament. All these teams are still gonna play each other.
I mean, in fairness, the United States are opening right the hell up. Like they're doing capacity, like percentage capacities for pretty much everywhere now. Like even the Blue Jays, who we'll get to later, they're opening their season against the Yankees, I believe, at 25% capacity, and then they come home for a bit, and then they go to Texas, where Texas is at 100% capacity right now.
Home.
Oh, sorry, yeah, home Dunedin, and then home Buffalo maybe later, and then maybe home Toronto later in the season. Who knows? Because apparently there's a chance. But yeah. So it's a little more normal in the States. Now, the one big controversy that's come up in the last day or so about March Madness is there was I definitely should have looked up her name before, but there's a woman that was in the tournament for the NCAA Women's March Madness, and she posted on TikTok first and then Twitter, and it's been blowing up on Twitter. But it was basically the difference between the women's weight room and the men's weight room. I don't know if you've seen it yet. Have you seen that video?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay, so basically the men have like a full-on gym in their thing, and the women's have like, those triangle racks of little weights? They have one of those.
Yeah, I do.
For the entire tournament. And so basically she was showing off like this is what we have and like this is what the men have. And apparently she was saying that when this came out first with the pictures, the NCAA said it's a space issue, not so much a money issue or whatever. And then she goes, well, here's the space. And she shows like, here's the rack. And she turns and there's this like gym sized open area that has literally nothing in it.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's ridiculous. It's one of those things that's like such an easy fix. Just put some fucking gym equipment from like anywhere nearby and just throw it in the goddamn thing.
Not even that though. You should be spending the same amount for a college athlete. You know what I mean? Like a college athlete is a college athlete. Like it doesn't matter male, female. They're college athletes.
You should be equal. Like they're not. None of these kids are making money anyway. So what's the difference?
No.
Like who cares if your money came from them? Like I know that NCAA men's tournament makes more money for you, but you still just make that money. Who cares where you distribute it? Like distribute it evenly across college. It's not that hard. It's an absolute joke. I think the NCAA dropped the ball 17 times before even bothering to pick it up on this one. But the NCAA is not known for treating their athletes very well anyways. So I'm not too shocked that they're on the wrong side of this one. Hopefully they fix it. I doubt they will, but we'll see in the coming future. It's ridiculous. That's all I really had to say about the March Madness so far. I don't know much about what's going on. I just like watching them.
Yeah, it's because it's fun, it's a single game knockout, but at the same time, like when you have that storyline going along with it,
that's not what you want to start.
What is important, and you need to definitely change that with more than just it's a space issue.
Yeah, come on.
Then if it's a space issue, you get them the space, or you give them the same space.
Yeah,
right.
Sure. Like you're an idiot to think that like you're gonna boldface lie. And in today's day and age where everyone has TikTok and Twitter and Instagram and all this stuff where you can just post pictures, you think that's going to fly. Like, you can't just be like, there's no space. And then, like, anyone that's at that tournament is like, really? What is this big-ass open area here?
Nobody gets away with anything anymore.
No,
eventually it gets found out, right?
Exactly.
That's so if you're going to say something like that, especially something that can be easily shown to be false.
Mm-hmm. Just take your hits, man. Take your hits and fix your mistake. That's all it is. Like, you fucked up, admit it, move on. Do something better. Be better, plain and simple.
Be better.
Yeah. That's enough basketball. The Leafs are back tonight. It's been 5 days off. There's not a whole lot of games for us to talk about since the last podcast, but there's some news because Wayne Simmons has been practicing all week and he's good to go for tonight. He'll be slotting in on the fourth line. That's awesome. You'd love to see it. And then Alex Galchenyuk's going to slot into the lineup on the second line because Jimmy Vesey got placed on waivers and was claimed by Vancouver of all teams. So,
yeah, that kind of hurts, I'm actually a little I don't know. He wasn't the biggest production guy, but at the same time, he signed a 1-year deal, and you'd like to see him play out that 1 year.
Paid, I liked it. Yeah. Like he was doing a decent job of being that fourth line $1 million guy that just went out there and did his job. He wasn't flashy. He didn't do a lot of things special. Like he wasn't great, but he wasn't bad either. He was just there, and that's fine. That's what you want out of your $1 million guys.
He filled up the bottom six,
Yeah,
with a potential upside of
if
scoring.
You needed him in a pinch, you could put him up there and he could score.
Maybe, yeah, but it sucks that due to the season you're having to make moves that necessarily wouldn't help you, right? Like especially now the Lehkonen trade, like how much are you wishing that you had him back?
Mm-hmm.
Because like when
team's fallen apart since then. So
you posted a question that was like, dude, what like McDermott or Lehkonen, and it wasn't able to come to our podcast because he was traded
didn't
before
even
that.
Make it. No,
but you know what? I would have put Dermott on the bench at that point because right now you were letting like 4 goals in a game.
Just shake something up. Right now, you don't have the depth to shake anything
defense,
up.
No, and that's the thing now is you're having to make these trades where it's like, okay, well, if we trade for somebody out of the division, then that's 14 days. We get them for 7 games, let's say.
Yeah.
And then you're playing 7 games and into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But like you get 7 games with that person. So like, and what are you going to give up for that? Yeah, what are you giving up? That's the thing
is like, if you're one of the biggest names defensively on the market is Matthias Ekholm. And I think if you're trying to trade for Matthias Ekholm, it's likely Dermott that's coming off and maybe going the other way. So you're like, it's probably going to be, it has to be a combination of like Dermott and Kerfoot too, and just in order to clear enough cap space. So that's 2 guys you're coming off your roster for 14 days. And right now, especially defensively, they don't have the depth to fill in on that hole. So you're hammering yourself for 14 days because you're trying to go get a guy like Matthias Ekholm. Plus, you're losing all the pieces for him. And then he comes back, plays no games, and then he's right into the playoffs with you, right? Like, you're not getting a whole lot of time as a team. And God forbid anything happens to the guy after you trade him over. He gets hurt or something. A guy plays like 2 games. It's worrisome. I think it's kind of why you haven't seen anything out of the Leafs so far is they're looking for a guy that, like, either here in Canada that you don't have to worry about or someone that you're not trying to give up the entire back end for so that you're hurting for 14 days without anyone to fill it in. I don't know. It's an interesting spot for them to be in. Back on Galch, how do you think he's going to do on that second line? He's obviously had a weird career so far, but it's a different spot.
He's had an incredibly weird career for sure, and it's tough to come into this kind of situation for him, right? Like you don't really know what kind of player you're getting. Like, are you getting the former, what was he, like a 3rd overall pick?
He scored 30 goals one year, I'm pretty sure.
Right. Or are you getting the Galchenyuk that's, on his 5th team in how many years?
Yep. 5th or
right. So It really depends. I think that right now there's not as much pressure because you're getting other things back in the mix, right? Like you said, Wayne Simmons is coming back. I think it's a good thing that we've had this rest because a guy like Joe Thornton probably needs a little bit more rest than the younger guys. So for him to play, especially for him to play in that top six as consistently as he's been, like that's tough for him. And he's 41 years old. Like so to do that,
it's shown a little bit, right? He's been hurt twice.
Yeah,
it's not the easiest thing for him to do at his age.
So to have a guy like Galchenyuk and come in and hopefully fill in that second line role type deal, and maybe even the first line role if he can gel nicely, right?
Sure.
And then you still, like you said, like Wayne Simmons, man, I think he's going to be, if he can return to form, I think he's going to be a great addition back for that. And then that's going to give you the confidence to say, okay, maybe we can go out and get something.
Yeah.
But keep, like for me, you're going to have to keep what you have going on right now. So almost a name like Sandin is going to get thrown in there, right? Like if you're Nashville, why are you giving up anything just because, right? Like their team's trying to, but you're not just going to give a team a cup. Like you're going to want something back in return, right? And
it's a tough spot for Nashville too because they kind of suck and they don't really have much to look at being like, in the future we have this because like there's a lot of guys that are coming up either this year or next year for them. So, I mean, I think they need future pieces, and I don't know if Sandin would be the guy that they look at, but I think there's enough prospects in the Leaf system that they could be like, well, let's take 2 or 3 of those guys, see what we can do. But the problem there for the Leafs is that you can't make up cap space by trading prospects and picks and stuff because you need a guy off the roster in order to offset the cap that's coming back. And it's just a weird spot because you don't want to mix up with the team that's there and how they've gelled and like the attitude they have around the team. But if you want to improve it, you're going to have to get rid of somebody off the roster, and it's a tough situation for Kyle Dubas to be in. I don't envy him for it, but
I think another hurdle that's kind of going around is there's a draft this year where nobody's played.
No, nobody wants these picks.
So like you could be drafting first overall, right? But it's not guaranteed that you're going to get, like the last year that this happened, it was guaranteed that Sidney Crosby was going to be the next like generational player, right?
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. And so, NHL had their lockout year.
Yep.
They got Malkin the year before, and then Pittsburgh got lucky, had statistically the best, like got the best pick at Sidney Crosby, and then stormed the ice,
Yeah.
But this year it doesn't feel like that's going to happen where you're not going to see like what you're getting, right? Like
the rumor too, from everything I've heard, is that nobody wants these picks. They're like, if you're going to trade us a pick, trade us next year's pick. Because at least that way you can see who's there. And it's a better draft class, but you can see the top guys and who you actually want. Your team this year is like, I don't think it's a great draft class to begin with. And you haven't seen anyone play this year. So it's like, why would I want to pick 21st when I don't even know the guy that's supposed to get picked 5th? Like, it's weird.
The Leafs have really also backed themselves in a corner with their goaltending too, right? Yeah. Like, so Frederik Andersen, this is his last year. And like if
I don't see anything looking great from the future.
So if he plays worse, like what do you mean? Like what's your solution from this? I've kind of looked at it and I don't really see an answer where you're gonna have this perfect everybody's happy medium, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're either gonna need to make a big move to try to keep him.
Yeah, in terms of goalies in the market, like Tuukka Rask is a free agent, but
so why wouldn't Freddie
you're not affording Tuukka Rask?
Yeah, if he can have a big season, if he can have a big season late and take you deep in a playoff run, then he's going to make his money, and it's probably going to be out of where the Leafs are willing to go and can go even, right?
Yeah,
and that's going to hurt for sure.
There's no instant fix to losing Frederik Andersen next year. Like if you're looking at the list, like. I think Lundqvist is technically a free agent, but that's not a guy I want running my team. Halak is a free agent next year, but obviously Boston's going to want to keep one of those two. Both Buffalo goalies I'm not interested in. Maybe Philip Grubauer, but I don't know if I'm really interested in that either, to be honest, at 29 years old. There's really just not a lot of names out there that you're looking to help fill that hole. So, I mean, you got to think of something to do with Freddie. Maybe you can sign him for a little around what you had him at this time at $5 million, but I don't know. It's a weird set going forward because you can't put too much money into other guys and you don't have the money to spend on people right now. Mm-mm. It's a tough spot. Not to
Yeah.
mention a guy that I thought they should have went after in Tanner Pearson. He's out for 4 weeks now. So on top of that, it's like that was a pretty decent target that didn't have to sit out for 14 days. And now if you trade for him, he's sitting out for more than 14 days. So it
I think
hurts a little bit.
there's probably still other, Tanner Pearson like players out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
I think
not
the
many in the
issue
north
is
though is the problem. That
and I
was
think
the
that
ideal there.
there's teams that are also trying to all, jockey into position, right, to
Yep.
do something. And
Yep.
that's also the other difficult part is that trading in your division will become incredibly difficult and the price will be probably much higher than trading out a division. Because a lot of these teams, if they're deciding to tank this year, right? Like realistically, Ottawa is the only team right now that has zero possibility.
Buffalo
Okay.
exists.
No, but I'm saying in the division,
north.
In the north, Ottawa is the only team right now that realistically.
I wouldn't even
you
say
don't
they
really
have
see-
zero possibility, but like they need a miracle.
Man,
They need that
goaltending-
miracle run that they went on the last time.
They need Matt Murray to just play like he did in both playoffs combined.
No, he needs to get real good real quick. They are currently 11 points out of the playoff spot. A lot of games in hand, so it's not likely, but it's possible. Anything can happen.
I don't. But there's, the Calgary is now showing some heart, showing some life, right?
They got fucking shit pumped by Edmonton the other day, and like Edmonton's not a good team.
I know that, but Edmonton just matches up well against the Battle of Alberta is always a coin flip for me.
Yeah,
and apparently Ottawa and Edmonton just decides to bend them over, and
that's weird. I saw Oilers fans the other day just like chirping the fact that they're tied with the Leafs now at the top of the league, and they're like chirping Leafs fans.
Are they 3 games up?
Yeah, we have fucking 3 games in hand. They're like, oh, well, you beat us 3 straight. And I'm like, is that on your side of the argument? Like, what?
But we play Edmonton.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's hilarious. When you're bragging, despite the fact that we have 3 games in hand, if we win one of them, we're at a better point percentage than you are. Like, it's hilarious. Oilers fans, stay golden. You're fun.
It's fun though, man. I think that this is the motivation that they needed to get back into.
I'm glad it's close.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I'd rather see this division be close and not have to walk away with it.
This team knows how to play in a close battle. They've done the Tampa, they've done the Boston. They know what it's like to try to compete to stay into that third, second.
You have to go all season long because the team's with you. Yeah, no, I got it.
Absolutely. So they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. Calgary tonight. Is it Calgary again tomorrow?
I thought it was. Oh, is it Calgary?
Calgary tonight. I know that.
Oh, damn.
I don't know if it's Calgary tomorrow. But yeah, so should be a good game. Hopefully they can come back with some pride after getting slapped around a little bit last week before going on a break. But that's basically it from the NHL. Realistically, the Oilers or the Sabres still suck. I don't think we need to talk too much about them. They just suck.
They need to trade Jack Eichel, to be honest. I think you're going to get so much back for him that you need.
I don't know. I don't know if you could win a Jack Eichel trade. I've said that all along. But as of right now, they're just in such a shit spot that like even Jack Eichel for this season doesn't help anyone because he's hurt until probably the end of the season.
Okay.
So it's just like it's such a tough spot for those guys. I feel bad, but I don't because I just don't like Buffalo. So what are you gonna do? Like they deserve it. They're scummy. What are you gonna do?
I just wish they were back in the division.
Yeah, it would be great. A little
it would
beat
be
up
nice
on them every few games. It'd be fun.
Let's just we'll take Buffalo. We'll take Detroit.
Yeah, and just throw them all in the.
Yeah.
Make the division.
Division.
Make the division actually bad around us.
Exactly. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
One Toronto team to another. The Blue Jays. We said last week, or actually, what was that 4 days ago now? We said that we're going to talk about them a little more next podcast, and here we are.
Next podcast. Welcome.
They have made some cuts to their spring training roster. They sent a bunch of guys down to minor league spring training, including the man whose tires I pumped up as high as I possibly could last week in Alec Manoah. They also sent down Simeon Woods Richardson, Jordan Groshans, and Austin Martin, with some other guys. It's not a shocking move. I didn't think any of them would be on the roster. I thought they would have tried to get a better look at Manoah just to see if he can come up later in the season and be a part of the bullpen. But maybe not. Maybe they just want to see him get some minor league time and work it out. Who cares? Either way. Yeah, but there's other questions in this team, and I kind of want to address a few of them. First and foremost, I think is the only real question in terms of lineup decisions. Who's the backup catcher on this team?
Kirk, I think has shown that he,
kind of winning it, right?
You have to just keep going with what you saw last year. And for me, man, like Reese McGuire just doesn't have that confidence when he gets up there. Alejandro Kirk, I feel like gets a lot of disrespect because of the way that he looks and the way that he does things. But if you're just going to do everything all right, then chances are you're going to be a good baseball player, man. If you could just hit for contact.
He's good at it, and he's hitting for a bit of pop in the spring training too. I've seen him hit a couple.
Yeah, and that's what everyone's kind of been saying too. That when you go down to Dunedin, especially this time of year, like that ball is going to fly. So as much as it's a bad thing for your pitching staff, like it's going to be a good thing for your hitters.
Yeah.
So I think that the good thing is that they're also going to be one of the few teams that are staying. Well, they are like the only team that's staying in the stadium that they went to spring training in.
Yeah.
So they have that.
They're already
they have
at
that
home
comfortability. Yeah. So when they go home, they're already comfortable with that ballpark, right? They know where they can hit it, how far the ball is going to fly. They don't need to. They don't need to try to adjust their swing to, to fit the adjustment of getting into the ballpark.
Just for fun here, Alejandro Kirk's he's played 8 games. He's tied for the league or team lead in home runs with 2. He's got 5 RBIs in those 8 games. He's only got 16 at bats. He's hitting 375. So like this is the guy you want as your backup catcher, I'd assume. I like Reese McGuire. I think he's a good backup catcher somewhere. I think he's been pushed out by by Kirk. It just doesn't really bring much to the table anymore. He's only hitting 230 so far in spring training. More games, less at bats though. He just might not be your guy. It sucks. Now, it'd be interesting to see whether or not by the end of the year you can see Alejandro Kirk push Danny Jansen out of a starting spot. And I think this has got to be a year that Jano turns it on, or you may have lost your gig, because I just think Kirk's been that good of a hitter that he could potentially push a guy that doesn't really hit as much and hasn't been playing phenomenal defense in Danny Jansen.
Yeah, I think it's obviously tough to go from backup catcher to starting catcher for sure. That's probably
very different role.
One of the hardest leaps, probably.
Yeah.
In baseball to do, to now pretty much commanding most of the game.
You're playing 3 to 4 games a week as opposed to 1 to 2.
And I'm not really sure what Kirk brings behind the plate mentally. Like that's what I mean. Like I'm not really sure what he's able to bring in the aspect of a mental game with baseball, and that's what part of it is. That's a big aspect, right? Of the game is out kind of like you're kind of playing games of chess with each pitch, and you're seeing what you get, and that's where like Kirk can't get can't show his hand too easily, can't get too overconfident, and that's where Danny Jansen's kind of figured that out, right?
He's got his defense struggled a little more last year, Jansen's did, but like he's shown that he was a Gold Glove finalist the year before. Like he can play defense when he focuses on it. It's just for him, it's a matter of bringing it all together and becoming the player that he should be. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not he can pull that off this year. I don't know. It'll be a fun battle all year long, I think, between the two of them, and I don't think that's a problem. I think if you have that battle behind the plate and you have 2 guys that are capable MLB guys that are vying for a spot on this roster, I think it's a pretty good problem to have.
They also have a really great, 1 to 6, 1 to 7 even. So if those guys go in at 8, 9, you're losing a bat there, but it's not as big of a loss as it was last year.
No.
Right, like last year, it was pretty big. Like Danny Jansen kind of needed to turn it around, and he did so in the final game of the year, but it wasn't
right when it no longer mattered. He was
it wasn't when everybody else was.
No,
so
it's tough. It'll be fun. It's an interesting conversation to have. I think it's really the only battle you're looking at right now on the Jays roster because everything else is set. But one guy that's fucking blown my mind so far and what he's been able to do is the man we've talked about enough because he lost a shit ton of weight and it is helping. Vladdy Guerrero has just been tearing the cover off the ball. He's hitting it hard. He's hitting it everywhere. He has a triple. He had a infield single today where he legged it out on a ground ball to the shortstop. his legs, like he's moving. I saw a video of that triple. He's flying. There's a stand-up triple. Look good. Guy's hitting the ball hard. I would love to see that continue into the regular season. Obviously, very different in the preseason. But if he can pull that off for the season and stay somewhat consistent with those numbers, you're looking at a kid that could maybe be a massive difference maker in this lineup.
Well, that's exactly what I meant with the 1 to 6 being potentially like dangerous, right? Like now that you have Vlad, who's playing a lot better, is able to leg out some throws where he wasn't before, right? He's able to focus a little more on hitting, not having to worry about maybe things defensively. Getting a little more comfortable at first base, and he just feels healthier, I'm sure. Right, which is it'll turn a lot of things around. And being in a AA type ballpark, like that's going to help you too. And even when they move, that's fine. Like keep that confidence going, right?
Yeah.
Like one thing that Vlad had in AAA was no time where he really struggled. There was no time where Vlad ever faced adversity in AAA, and that's why I think when he got to the major leagues, and that's your first time. Yeah, you have to learn exactly, and now you're able to learn. Really, like the same way you learn to get to the major leagues, right? Is I'm going to a AA ballpark. I'm going to go to a AAA ballpark. I'm going to be able to hit there. I'm getting a chance at these pitchers. And then now I'm going to be able to just like figure out my swing and not worry so much about power, right?
Yep.
He doesn't need to be the 50 home run guy.
No, exactly.
You don't want that, right?
If he can get on base and produce and drive in runs when he has to, he doesn't have to hit 30, 40 home runs. I don't really care. But he's a guy that can hit 25 home runs and still have 110 RBIs because he just makes really good contact, and he's in such a good spot in the lineup where there's so many guys in front of him that'll be on that he can just drive in runs all day. Just for fun here, he's had 20 at-bats. He's 12 hits, scored 7 runs. He's got 2 doubles, a triple, a home run, 8 RBIs, 5 walks, which is nuts. He's hitting 600 with a 667 on base percentage, slugging 900 with an OPS of 1.617. The guy's nuts. He's having a hell of a preseason. Hopefully he can carry that because he's never had that success in the preseason as a Blue Jay so far. Like since in his major league time, he hasn't really been able to bring that. But that is some consistency out of a man that like you expected a little bit more out of this year because he lost the 42 pounds and he's in way better shape than he was at the end of last year. And it looks good. Looks real good.
Absolutely. I'm definitely in support of that. I think that it also helps having the off-season pieces come in with Marcus Semien and George Springer, who both are pretty, George Springer especially, they're not sludges at that plate, right?
No.
They give you tough at-bats. They give you good at-bats. And I think they bring a lot of experience, especially with this younger team of Vlad, Bo, and Cavan, right? Like those 3 are going to learn so much from Springer and
just some professional hitters in the league, right?
Absolutely. Even Semien being around for if we get the 1 year out of him?
Yeah.
Like, can you
Simeon's
imagine?
A guy too. He struggled at a lot of his career. Like for a good chunk of his career, he wasn't very good, and then he figured it out and just turned his whole career around. So that's a guy you wouldn't hate having in there talking to these 3 guys. Like, hey, don't worry about if you're struggling. Like Bo had struggles last year where you look like you couldn't do a damn thing on the field. And that if you have a guy around like Semien to be like give him the mindset that he needs in order to help get over those things, it's huge, right? Huge to have around the team.
Shows a lot of persistence for sure. Like the persistence of this team is going to be, I think, the biggest thing, right? Like they are going to need to overcome a lot of situations because of the pitching staff, and I think that they're ready to do so. They're showing it in their off season how prepared they are. It feels like a totally different team that's coming to the plate.
They
right
look
now,
ready
right?
to win this team.
Yeah, like they just look like they're
wise.
ready to prove. Like, you know what, man? If you guys are gonna count out our pitching rotation, like our starting 5 right now, then we're gonna make you eat those words.
Yeah.
Right. Like I have full confidence in this team.
They have arguably a top 3 to 5 lineup in the AL for sure. I think top 3 is not that generous. I think they're safely in that top 3, and they're gonna do damage, and they know it. They're out there already with that confidence that they're gonna do damage at the plate, and they just need to just outscore their own pitchers. Basically, is what their plan is. It seems like. Not a great plan.
Can you imagine how many pitches the pitcher is going to have to throw, even like within the first 2 innings alone, just to
Man,
get the first 6 batters out? Like, that's
you're
ridiculous.
facing
Good
realistically.
luck.
I don't know how you put your order together, but personally, I have Springer hitting one, so you have arguably the best leadoff hitter in baseball the last 5 years, and then you have at two stick you could just run a combination of like Bo or Cavan or even Vlad or Lourdes, and all four of these guys can take you deep in a millisecond without even a thought in their mind. Cavan's a pain in the ass to.
Why
He's a
not
pain in the ass to pitch
Teoscar,
to.
right? Like,
Yeah, I personally put him 3-4. I just think he's that raw
okay,
power to have at
yeah,
3-4.
just
But
swing at it.
like all four of those guys, they're either going to take you yard or they'll just like place a single in, no problem, get on base, keep the line moving, and they all have that mindset where they don't have to do the biggest damage they can possibly do. And it's as a pitcher, you're going to face this guy who could take you yard in a heartbeat at the top of the order, and then you have to face Cavan for 12 pitches because he sees pitches like it's nothing, or you have to face Bo, who can hit the ball all over the field and can do it for power, can do it for contact, doesn't matter. Then you have Vlad, who looks like a god in spring training. You have Lourdes, who when he's hot is probably the best hitter of all of them. And then you top that off and you have Teoscar in there and you have Rowdy in there. And this is like in the top.
Grichuk on the bench.
Grichuk,
like,
who can hit 30 homers on accident. Like,
absolutely. He had a great year last year, right? That was like one of his best years, I think, statistically. And now he's going to be fighting every day to make the starting roster. And I think that's amazing, right? To have that kind of, to kind of have that team that's going to say, hey, we're going to buy into this team mentality, but we're also going to buy into we're competing every day for that starting job is going to be huge. And you're going to see a lot of, like you said, good at bats. I hope that Vlad, like one thing with Vlad, like what was his dad's biggest success, right? Was his ability to just like get contact on the ball. Where like he just like somehow found the ball.
He hit everything.
He immediately saw the ball, right? His hand-eye was that good that he could just put it to anything. And yeah, he found ways to do it stupidly, but he would still get enough bat on the ball. And I think that's what Vlad is like lacking a little bit, is his ability to see some of the pitches. He just kind of guesses, and when he doesn't guess right, he swings,
Vlad's got this weird thing where he drives a lot of balls into the ground, and I think that's an easy thing to fix. Like, you just tweak your swing a little bit to try and get a little more launch angle on the ball. I think it seems like he's doing that, but who knows, man? If he's going to keep driving balls into the ground, it's tough for him. At least he picked up a bit of speed. He legged some stuff out. That's obviously something he has to work on in the offseason, and maybe he did. I don't really know what he actually worked on. I just know he did a lot of work, and he's looking real good right now. So we'll see. Yeah. How do you put this lineup together if you're doing it?
Like you said, I think Springer's at the top.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Cavan at 2, just because, man, you could see potentially 30 pitches at your top with two guys.
You're in the first inning and you've already thrown 35 pitches. Like it's insane.
Like that's so nuts. I like that. I kind of agree with what you said with Hernandez or Teoscar at the third spot just for that power. But eventually, I think you'd like to see Vlad somewhere around there.
I think
just to be a hitter. Like I want this lineup to be more of like a Kansas City Royals, like we're just going to continue to move the line, and get
doesn't matter who does the job,
and that fits Montoya's game, right? Like he wants he wants to move you around the bags, and that's going to work for this lineup if they decide we're just going to hit and we can run. You know what you mean? Like you can get a single, you can get a double, but we know the guy behind us is going to get us around, right? And that's where I think this team is going to find their most success. It's not going to be in the launching it over the wall every single game. You're going to have games like that for sure where guys are just clicking and they're feeding off each other because that's how dangerous it is. But your most success is going to come from Montoya's strength, which is move the next guy up,
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway.
I think Montoya's shown in the past that he's not afraid to just keep this lineup as fluid as possible and just have guys hitting. Like you could hit third one day, you could hit seventh the next. Like there's no – you're not set at any position. I really like that out of him. I think he overthinks things way too much, but I would love to see him just kind of keep this rotation a little more fluid. Like some days Cavan will hit 2, some days he'll hit 8. I don't mind that. I think you have them up and down the lineup. It doesn't matter. All of them can be up and down the lineup just depending on who's going and who's not. And I think he's smart enough to do it. I hope he does anyways.
To me, what does your starting lineup matter if it's not like a consistent set? You know what I mean? Like if you're like you said, 8 one game and second the other. Like if you're coming up, it matters what you maybe start in the third, potentially the second.
Yeah.
Right. You see the first at bat. You could see it in the first if the pitcher really gives it up, like we're expecting. But like that's the thing, though, is you're not stuck at 8. You know that right now I'm better at 8 because this is going to actually help move the team along.
Yep.
And
you got to buy in. You need the team to buy in, and that's a big thing. It's kind of like the Dodgers.
Have a bunch of guys that are, man. Like getting George Springer, out of any of those Houston players, let's say all of them were up in the same year, right? Those Astro players just walked to free agency. Like, would you rather not have had George Springer out of all of them? Exactly.
There's nobody else on that team that I would have wanted.
I was not upset
Maybe
about
Michael Brandt. I wouldn't have hated Michael Brandt. But
I wasn't upset because it's like, where do you see him in there?
No, he doesn't really fit. Like, he didn't really fit in the current line.
No. That means you could absolutely trade something, but
sure. But as the way it sits, there was no need for him.
That'd be almost like you're just sitting there with so much candy. You know, you just got all this candy, and you don't know which
eat. I can't eat them all.
You're trying to put them all in, but you're like, I can't do that. I gotta go one by one, and it just you don't know which one, but you can only have 9.
Yeah. That's it. You're done. You get 9 candies.
You only have 9. That's it. Like they wish that they could have more than 9. You know.
The big question mark on this team, obviously starting pitching. Obviously Ryu is going to be at the top. You assume Robbie Ray is going to be 2. Outside of that, I have no idea what they're expecting. Steven Matz has been good. TJ Zoik has looked okay. I don't know if that's a guy you want to slot in. Yeah, this is what I mean. Like you're kind of running into trouble a little bit. Thomas Hatch went down the other day, so he's probably not going to be anywhere near the rotation. Nate Pearson's still not ready to go, so he's not going to be anywhere near the rotation. I don't think Trent Thornton's back. I could be wrong, but if he's probably not healthy enough to be in the rotation. So you're looking at like a long list of guys that don't make a lot of sense, and it's going to be a tough 3, 4, 5. Tanner Roark is in there too. I forgot.
I don't want Tanner Roark for. I'd like to keep him as 5'6" as possible.
Yeah. I don't really. I love Tanner Roark for his like ability to just eat innings and do all that, but what he showed me last year was not promising. And if you're counting on him to be the 3 or 4, you're in trouble.
And we run into a bit of an issue if Ryu is still wanting that extra day's rest, you know, because then it's a requirement of everybody else.
You need 6 guys now, and
you're gonna see more. You're gonna see more of these bottom tier guys than you are Ryu because he needs that extra day, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah, especially until Pearson gets back. It's just like there's really nothing behind Robbie Ray that you're like, okay, cool. Like Steven Matz has been good, but I don't have that much faith in Steven Matz starting the season to be like, yeah, that's our guy. He can be the 3 guy and do a great job of it. I've never seen that out of Steven Matz in the MLB. Maybe he is now. Maybe he worked on some stuff. But as it sits right now, you have 2 guys that have proven they can throw in the majors and a long list of guys that have no idea.
People give a lot of credit to Pete Walker, I think, as well.
Oh, he's going to have to do some work.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like you were asking to make, you know, the biggest, like so many question marks turn out to be successes, right?
Yep.
You were asking to fix so many different problems without even truly knowing what those problems are yet, right? You know what their problem was in one division. You don't know what their problem is in this team. You don't know if they even have a problem.
Yeah.
You traded for them because you like their stuff, right? You saw something through, you saw something through the shit that they were throwing out there on their old team.
Yep.
And you thought, you know what, we can turn this around. One guy who did, Taijuan Walker. One guy who's not back.
Taijuan Walker. That was a big miss, I think. I just don't
why?
That one.
That was some guy who was struggling a little bit. That came over from Seattle, had a great run, and then nothing. That's too much.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. It's not going to be fun to watch from the pitching perspective, but they're going to hit enough that it's not going to matter, I think. So it'll be neat. Do you want to break down some divisions? Just winners, losers, teams you're interested in?
I think Baltimore's going to win.
I think Baltimore's probably got a really good chance to win this year.
Baltimore looks real hot of these.
I have all sorts of faith in Pittsburgh, too. Pittsburgh is usually a team.
Ooh, those Tigers, I think they
The Tigers, definitely. The Diamondbacks should be fun.
Sorry, this is like golf, right? Lowest score wins?
Yeah, I thought so. You're trying to keep it under 60?
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're
We'll
going to be
start in the
awful.
NL because the graphic I has the divisions with the NL first.
Where did
So
you do the graphic? You should be able to.
I just literally just looked up pictures.
Oh my god, I struggled for 10 minutes.
Just look up
All
MLB
right.
divisions, man.
I did, and it gave me the realignment nonsense.
Oh, that's no.
No.
NL East. You got the Braves, Mets, Marlins, Nats, Phillies. I think this could be the tightest division of any of them.
Yeah.
Either side. I think the Braves have a little advantage. The Mets, everyone has pegged to be really good. I don't see what they did that makes them way better than last year, but
I think they also have a lot of faith in DeGrom, like kind of
DeGrom
stepping
and
back.
Syndergaard hasn't really been anything in his career, and I don't know where
And
all of a sudden.
DeGrom's been, Cy Young candidate for how long now?
Yeah, but then
How many
Marcus
years?
Stroman coming back. Obviously, I like Marcus Stroman, but I don't have
Don't
that
they
much
have
faith in him to turn the
Walker?
team around. Right. It's a good rotation.
Deeper team than
But
they
I'm
were,
not really afraid of anyone in the lineup outside of Francisco Lindor and maybe Pete Alonso. Like I don't fear them that
Michael
much.
Conforto struggles with consistency, but I know he's got a little pop in his bat, right? Like if he's gonna hit it, it's gonna be pretty far. Jeff McNeil is kind of like a real big utility.
Jeff
guy
McNeil's crazy.
He hits,
but he's not a guy I rely on.
No.
It's interesting. It'll be fun. The Marlins in that division, they surprised a lot of people last year, and I think they could still be that team this year when they're.
I also don't think I don't think the Nationals are going to be as bad as they were last year. I think they kind of made some moves and could definitely make a bit of a push for that top for sure. I still think that it's Atlanta's to lose,
Yeah, Steven Strasburg was hurt last year, right? Like he spent a lot of the year on the team.
Yeah, a lot of it hurt. Remember he got kicked out?
Yeah.
He got kicked out of the stadium one game because he was arguing balls and strikes with the ump. And
as a fan.
As a fan.
And then the Phillies, you never know what the Phillies are, man. Sometimes they're really good. Sometimes they're dog shit. Their bullpen is never any good. Their lineup is really good. Who knows? I have no idea what that team can be. Bryce Harper looks like an MVP candidate at times, and he looks like he doesn't know how to hit a ball at others. So I really don't know.
The Phillies are like the Leafs in the Sundin era, where it's like there's a pile of money there, and it's like, why isn't this working? It just doesn't
seem to be doing anything.
This isn't working. There's so much money there, and why isn't this working? It just feels like that.
It'll be an interesting year I think the teams to watch in that division are the Marlins, the Mets, and the Phillies. I think those three are like the wild card of like which one of these can battle with the other two, and I think the Nationals are good enough to be up there.
So,
and I think the Braves
are you saying then that Anthony Rendon meant that much to the Nationals that since his departure they cannot come back? Like, do you think Juan Soto is really not going to be able to?
No, I think Juan Soto can carry that team. I think they're good enough to be. I think they're sitting 2 right now, but I think it depends.
I got my teams crossed. I got my teams totally crossed.
Sorry.
Thinking of Atlanta.
I think Atlanta's far and away the best team in that division.
Right.
And then I think the Nats are probably right behind them. But it all depends on what you see out of the Mets, Marlins, and Phillies. Like, if the Marlins are what they were last year, they're going to be a pain in the ass all year. They could be battling in that spot. The Mets apparently got better. I don't see it, but apparently they did. They're like the Montreal Canadiens of the MLB, basically. Everyone says they got better, but I don't really see where they improved. And then the Phillies should be good. You just expect them to be good, but they never are. So I don't know. So you're kind of
because every other team is really tough, though, right? Like,
yeah, it's just a tough
the
division to play in.
The Mets also got Cookie, right? Let's not forget that.
Yeah. So their rotation's good.
And you hope that Edwin Diaz is not as ass as he's been. That's a real bad trade.
He does not look good for that team.
See, look, James McCann, Jose Martinez. I don't know, man. They've got Kevin Pillar. Okay, that's it.
Woo!
Sean Reed Foley is on their starting roster right now.
Yeah. That's
Jonathan Villar.
He'll probably be in the pen. I don't hate Sean Reed Foley in the pen, man. I think that guy is
Dominic Smith
electric in the bullpen.
Aaron Loop, dude. I'm gonna keep going with this team until you just get convinced that they're good. JD Davis, Dellin Betances.
Is Dellin back?
Dellin's there. I don't know. He's on the roster.
He was hurt last year.
Albert Almora Jr. Come on.
Oh, that's a nice pickup. I just don't. They don't scare me. I don't have to play them, but they don't scare me all that much. On to the worst division in baseball, I would say. The NL Central. I think it's St. Louis's to win, and I think the Cubs can play baseball. But outside of that,
I'm saying the Cubs. To be honest with you, I think that
Okay.
I don't know why.
I think you
It's
could argue
weird, but
1-2 Cubs Cardinals, and
yeah,
then
I
the
think
other
they
three are just there.
they got rid of a lot of, like, I know they lost Yu Darvish for sure. That's really tough to do, but they also got rid of Kyle Schwarber, who
Mhm.
was a liability out there. I'm sorry to say, but he was not
Defensively, for
able
sure.
to
Yeah.
do. Yeah, but even offensively with the bat, the last little bit, like they weren't
They
able to
struggled.
do anything. They needed, they needed something to change that culture, and I just
Yeah.
want to see who's kind of on that team now, but they're just always the Cubs. You don't think the Cubs are going to be
It's
out
funny
of it.
because like early in our lives, the Cubs were just dog shit.
Jake Arrieta's back.
Yeah, buddy.
Zach
Like
Davies.
I don't see a lot of the Chicago Cubs that gives me hope personally.
Jason
But
Hayward, Craig Kimbrell, Jake Marisnick. Come on, that's a big deal. He plays hard. Oh, they got Jock. Remember?
did they get Jock?
Yeah, Jock
I did
Peterson's
not
on
know
the
that they
team.
got Jock.
Yeah, they got Jock. Does that change your mind?
No, not the slightest.
Brandon Workman. I like that. I'm gonna vote for him.
Yeah, no,
Austin
I don't.
Rowe.
I don't really have faith in this team to do much this year. Like they lost a lot and didn't gain anything. And I don't think the Cardinals are great either, but I think the Cardinals are better than the Cubs. And I think the
Why? Because
Cardinals
Nolan
just kind of
Arenado
make it in. Oh, I forgot about Arenado too. So like they got better and they were okay last year.
But they also got older though too, man.
Sure.
Like the Cards are way older now than they want to admit.
Yeah.
Because they brought back Yadi, which is great for sure. But they're older.
They are
Andrew
old.
Miller is not
No,
that great of a pitcher anymore.
They have Goldie at first still, right? Goldie's still good enough.
You've got Tyler O'Neill too, who's not bad, Canadian.
Yeah, the rotation's okay with Jack Flaherty in there.
But Adam Wainwright's back at 39.
Wainwright just gets it done. Like he's just kind of consistently there.
I know, but he's 39 now.
Yeah, I don't think the Brewers are competing in that thing. Pittsburgh's obviously not.
Goldie's
Cincinnati's not going to be good. They got two good pitchers and a half decent power lineup, but there's nothing there.
I don't think Sonny Gray spends the year on that team. Is he there still?
Yeah, I don't think. Well, him and what's his name? Gappin. Their number one guy. Holy shit! I said his name about 1,000 times in the past 3 weeks. Either way,
I want you to get this because I'm looking at his name. He wears number 58.
I can see him. He's got his hat sits so weird in his head.
Starts with an L. His first name. His last name.
Luis Castillo.
There you go. Hey, he gets.
I was gapping so hard on him. Yeah, I think one of them are gone by the trade deadline. At least one of them, maybe both. I just don't see that team doing anything.
Yeah, I don't think Sonny Gray should finish his. And Michael Lorenzo, who's like Lorenzen, who's like the most jacked player.
Crazy. Yeah, guy can hit, guy can play the outfield, guy can pitch. Crazy. But that's.
Oh my God! Have you ever seen him? Him and Dietrich,
huge, just absolute roid monsters without the roids. Yeah, the other division, the NL West, it's a two-team division. The other three are not competing in that one. The Giants are a team, and I think they're going to be okay. But that's about it.
Rockies have given up, and
the Rockies have nothing left. They have Trevor Story and noted insert
Charlie
player
Blackmon.
here. Oh, Blackman's still there, yeah. That's it. I don't. Herman Marquez, I think, is in the rotation, but that team's not competing. They're not. They're pitching.
John Gray lost it before he found it. He showed a glimpse of it, and then it was just gone.
Overnight.
Which happens in Colorado, man. The ball flies.
You get like 2 good months in Colorado as a pitcher.
You're a pitcher that survives there. My hat's off to you because that's incredible.
Yeah.
Like there's no way.
No. So obviously they're not competing. The Diamondbacks just don't have anything that scares me that's going to put them in that running.
I think it's the Dodgers, man. I think the Dodgers, the fact that they ponied up for their pitching rotation that didn't need to be ponied up.
Mm-hmm.
And Jock Peterson lost for sure.
Not a big loss.
Really only good against one side of one side of the.
And it's not a big enough loss to matter on that team. They have so many guys.
They're really Dodgers.
There could be two 100-win teams in that division.
And it's going to be so great to watch them slug it out against each other.
Crazy. It's going to end up being like a 107 to 104 end of the year, and I think the Dodgers probably take it just because they have a little bit deeper of a
Hey,
rotation right now because
do you
Dinelson
think
Lamet went down.
do you think Cody Bellinger though is as bad as he was last year? Like, do you think that
I think Cody Bellinger is somewhere in between those two seasons. I don't think he's as good as he was his MVP year, but I don't think he's as bad as he was last year.
that is a fall. Like that is
Yeah.
that's not falling with style. That's just falling. Like you just face planted.
I think his MVP year was an anomaly. I don't think he's that good. I think he's good, and he's had really good years before that, but he's just been streaky and never that consistent until that MVP year where he just took off. I think he regresses from that, but I think he's way better than what he was last year, personally. Could be wrong.
Yeah,
Could be wrong. Obviously, you're watching
me,
for.
I want to see Dustin May take
Sure.
that step forward.
Yeah.
Like to me, like the way that I love the look, I love the hair, I love the how long
The
he is.
electric arm.
Yeah, you know what I mean? If he can ever find it.
I love that I have him on my fantasy team.
Right? I think that he's great.
Yeah.
I think that he could be real good for that team, especially when you have Bauer, Kershaw, and Walker.
There's
right in front of you.
obviously some interesting storylines on both teams. I think you're looking at Trevor Bauer to see if he can replicate what he did last year. You're looking at Mookie Betts to see if he's still the MVP candidate that he's been, because he's had some off years here and there. Fernando Tatis, you're looking to see if he can stay healthy and make that jump. Manny Machado to see if he can continue doing what he was last year as opposed to what he did with the Dodgers. Other than that,
that's mainly right there.
There's not a lot of exciting storylines in the team. You kind of know what you're going to get from both of them.
You love Machado, don't you?
I hate that guy. I don't hate him as much as I used to, but like him on the Orioles and him on the Dodgers, I could not stand him. He's not as bad anymore.
No, he was a bit of a punt there.
I think he's maturing a little bit, but like he's just annoying.
I just think that for the Padres, like it's tough to build all that together and to have everything go perfectly that fast, That's to me to me the biggest question mark. And I like the Dodgers.
Ha-Seong Kim's another one that we didn't really mention there. That's another thing you got to plug in and see if that works. So that's they do have a little more intriguing, can they get it done type of thing. But especially with the injuries they currently have with Clevenger and Lamet not starting the season.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see what they can piece together.
Yep.
On to the AL. We're going to save the best for last, so we'll start with the Central. I think, now this might be a hot take, I think the team that comes out of the AL is in the Central, in the Chicago White Sox. I think they were really good last year, and they're only going to get better. I don't see – they're not Jose Abreu is the only guy I can see regressing on that team. Other than that, everyone, I think you're going to see a better year out of Luis Robert. I think Tim Anderson is what Tim Anderson is. He's going to continue to do what he does. You have Yaz behind the plate, and he's great. What's his name there? Moncada's good. Eloy's only going to get better. Garrett Crochet, thank you.
Yeah, who's pretty electric too there. I think that they are. Yeah, Liam Hendricks going there too helps. Eloy Jimenez, I think is going to be a pretty good player in the league.
Mm-hmm. Lucas Giolito is one of the most electric starters in baseball.
I loved Moncada always.
Yeah.
That's what I loved when we went to that Chicago series. Because I just was like, dude, Moncada's a beast. I love it.
Unit. And just the guy gets it. He can be better than what he was last year, I think.
Right.
I think he's going to take a step forward. And the Twins are the only other team in that division that I'm kind of looking at to being a good team. And I don't think they even compete with what Chicago is. And then I think it just comes down to whether or not you think Chicago or the Yankees are good enough to make it out. I just think the White Sox are deeper and typically more healthy than what the Yankees have been. The Yankees haven't been able to stay healthy ever. So to me, it's just the White Sox look poised to be able to make a deep run in the playoffs. And there's definitely nothing challenging them in their division. And I think the only team that challenges them in the playoffs is probably the Yankees. Personally,
that's fair. Yeah, it is a weaker AL for sure.
Yeah. AL West, you have smorgasbord of teams that I think are going to fall off the face of the earth, and then maybe.
To me, though, the team that's hopefully will take it. I think this is going to be my take for the year is the Los Angeles Angels.
Yeah. You hope they can be good.
I'm going to say that this is going to be the year they take that division.
Yeah.
Because it is wide open and you have no reason why you shouldn't behind, a couple of good
players. Maybe Oakland's good, but
if Shohei Ohtani is
the
two-way player that you signed up for, then that helps tremendously for them. And
Shohei being healthy is the biggest wild card for that team, because if he's healthy and he can play the way you think he can, then he's going to help that team on both sides of the ball. But if Shohei's not, and he looks like what he did last year, you're in trouble, because that guy couldn't hit the broadside of a barn last year.
Right, and they also picked up, Dexter Fowler, who struggled hitting as well. Right, so you do have a couple of question marks, but you're just hoping that these players can really get it together. And for that, man, I hope that they kind of go. They're in the same problem.
For Mike Trout's sake, man, I hope they win some games.
But you need more pitching. Realistically, is what it is.
Yeah,
like they need to adjust their pitching as much.
Dylan Bundy's good. I do like Dylan Bundy. He had a really good year last year.
They got Jose Quintana, who I think I think it's his first year there. Like nothing.
Question mark, man. You don't really know what that kid can be. Right. Alex Cobb has fallen off the face of the earth since he left Tampa Bay. Who knows? Shohei Ohtani, like I said, you never know. Andrew Heaney has shown flashes of being an okay pitcher, but never been great.
I'm pretty sure Andrew Heaney does not have like a fastball.
No.
I think he is such a movement pitcher. It's crazy.
Griffin Canning, I think he's a young kid, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 96. He came up and looked good at times last year, and then he looked really bad at times last year. Mm-hmm. So who knows? The bullpen is yikes. Not great.
Yeah. But no, I just think – I don't think that not LA. I don't think that Oakland can compete again this year. They've kind of been – not gutted, but they've been stripped of some things, right?
One guy. They're key.
No,
actually,
they lost. Marcus Semien, we got one, and they lost.
Semien and Hendricks are big. I don't think Semien was a huge piece. He's a good piece.
Was their MVP candidate?
But he wasn't good last year, and last year they were better than they were the year before.
And so I don't think Matt Chapman played the whole year, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had some injury. Or maybe it was Matt. Either way, one of the Matts.
Oh, it was Olsen. Matty O was out for a bit.
Yeah, right.
But if Matty O is healthy, that guy can rake.
Yeah, dude. Mark Hanna, too, apparently is unreal when you need him.
I can never count the A's out.
I get it, but I just feel like Los Angeles should have definitely made – they should be the other LA team making a bit of noise. Mike Trout deserves something to want to be there.
You hope for his sake that they do. I don't see Texas or Seattle making any sort of mark in this division. The Astros, I got nothing to say. I don't like them. I don't like them. They lost George Springer. I think they're going to be better. Or I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to compete. I don't see them being at the top.
They don't really. They've got Jose Altuve.
I hope Altuve regresses even more than he did last year. I just hope he just falls off a cliff.
They picked up Jason Castro, or was he already there?
I don't know. I think he might have came back last year. But
I have no idea.
What's his name? Kyle Tucker in the outfield. Kyle Tucker looked great in his rookie season.
There's nothing that they've really brought in, though, that has made me.
What's his nuts? Do you have the lineup in front of you? The young kid that won Rookie of the Year last year in the AL? Not like the last season, the one before, the last full season. Jordan Alvarez. That's what it was.
Alvarez? Yeah, I just found it.
He missed all of last year, so getting him back might help offensively. Right. He's a liability sometimes, but I don't know. I think they'll make some noise. I don't see them competing with the A's personally. No. And you just never know with the Angels. With that Rendon Trout combination should be winning you a ton of games, but they just can't pitch.
Ohtani, you hope is healthy. So
yeah, you hope to get some decent starts out of Ohtani and Bundy, and maybe Griffin Canning can turn into a major league starter. I don't know. Finally, saving the best for last. The only division that matters in my life, the AL East, baby. Bottom to top, how we doing? Who's your bottom team?
To top. The Orioles are never anywhere.
That's not a question. They're nowhere near the top. No. Who's your second worst team in this division?
See, I've been debating this honestly since we started talking.
Yep.
Because somebody could easily put the Boston Red Sox there.
Sure.
I probably wouldn't be upset about it.
No.
However,
I wouldn't disagree.
I have somehow convinced myself that the Rays are going to experience such a big fall.
I don't think they're going to be good.
And everybody keeps saying, no, it's the Rays. They're going to match up.
Sure.
No,
Their
but they're not
lineup is the
anymore because they
same.
don't have Blake Snell and they don't have Charlie Morton,
No,
and you don't have anything
Tyler
in there.
Glasnow's not that good.
No, you don't have anything in the actual starting rotation that's incredibly scary. You don't have anything in the bullpen. Like you can match up, but
the
then
bullpen's still really good.
okay,
I
but
wouldn't mess around with the bullpen.
the people like teams are gonna be able, I think, to match up with you as well, though, right? Like
Mhm.
you've now shown your hands. Like how many things can pitchers show as much as batters, right?
Yeah,
Pitchers are gonna have tendencies. Pitchers are gonna have like, dude, Tyler Glasnow had a tip off when he was putting his
sure.
glove lower.
Yeah.
Like you find little things in their game.
Their rotation this year could be Glasnow, Yarbrough, Chris Archer, Michael Wacha, and Rich Hill. Like
Wow,
it's
I am so scared.
honestly, those are
that
guys that like aren't probably going to get it done, but because they're raised, they're all going to be Cy Young candidates or something, and that's going to be where they show it up or hoop.
Was Chris Archer a Cy Young candidate when he was there?
What's that?
Was Chris Archer?
Once I think he was
there?
close. Once he was close, but that was it. However, that three-headed monster of Nick Anderson, Diego Castillo, and Pete Fairbanks at the back of that bullpen is one of the most disgusting threes you could have.
It's unbelievable,
and then they just have like 75 guys in the minors that can throw 102.
But you have to get there, though, to me, right? You have to get to the point where they're needed in the back of that bullpen, and you were using guys like Blake Snell and Charlie Morton to get you there as much as you're using Tyler Glasnow.
I think they're going to regress.
I think I'm honestly going to put them in that fourth slot. I don't think that Randy is going to be the same Randy that we saw blow the lights out.
No.
You know, like
Randy Rosarena is a big question mark for me, like whether or not he can figure it out. Obviously, he was in some legal troubles in the offseason.
Right. So I just think that
we'll see. He's an interesting one. What did the Red Sox do that gives you hope that they're going to be better? I think every other team in the league or the division did okay.
I know, but it's just, to me, it's also what they have. Like I don't really think that well, they have Hunter Renfroe. I mean, that right there worked out for absolutely nobody.
Dude, they don't have anyone.
No, but Alex Verdugo, you hope, is a lot better than he's been. You know, he shows a lot of promise out there at the plate.
Okay.
I think a lot of
Verdugo is good. Rafael Devers also good.
They still have JD Martinez. They got Kike Hernandez. You know,
Xander can play.
Yeah, like Xander can always play. Right, their pitching is just always. You hope that Chris Sale is healthy at some point.
His team's not good.
It's okay, but that's but the Boston Reds. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if they just somehow did it. Sure. Rafael Devers.
Sure. Chris Sale coming back might help.
Yeah, it'll definitely help. I mean, getting Chris Sale.
After Chris Sale, you have Nate. Which one of these guys is your number two? You have Eduardo Rodriguez, Nate Eovaldi, Garrett Richards, Martin Perez, Nick Pivetta, Matt Andrews.
I don't know. I'm not saying it's good.
That's like the bottom of the Jays rotation. That's how bad that looks. Eduardo Rodriguez is probably the two guy behind Chris Sale. If Chris Sale's healthy. Like, it's rough. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
The bullpen sucks.
I've been thinking about it. I'm not saying I've been convinced about it, but they're the Boston Red Sox, and they just are the Boston Red Sox, and I hate to vote against them.
Yeah, I think Boston's 4. I don't see them doing too well. 3 is the Rays, I think, and I think you have not a great battle, but a little battle at the top of the division between the Jays and the Yankees.
Red Sox just to be different. I'm going to say 3 Red Sox, just to spite you, just to put them above you.
Okay, we'll see. And then the Yankees they're the cream of the crop in the AL East. It's just how it is. They have a lot of money. They spent a lot of money, and they have a good team. The only thing the Jays can hope for is that they're not healthy, which happens consistently. And then maybe the Jays can make up some ground and pull ahead of the Yankees. But as it sits right now, the Jays have no pitching. So I don't have a lot of faith in the Jays overtaking the Yankees. The Yankees, they don't have a great pitching staff. They're not one of those.
They did get better, though.
Yeah, they're good enough to get it done. If they get Luis Severino back and he's close to what he was,
they made a big trade. They with Pittsburgh to bring in Mike on his name. Yeah. So they've identified some needs for sure.
They're better than they've been pitching wise. Like, they got Corey Kluber too.
Yeah.
Garrett Cole, obviously elite pitcher in the MLB. Corey Kluber, you have no idea what Corey Kluber is going to be anymore. Jamison Tyon's streaky here and there. You never know. And then you're filling it out with Jordan Montgomery, who I have no faith in personally. Davey Garcia, who should be in that rotation, but I don't think he hits in it. Kid's young as hell. Michael King, I don't know much about. And then Domingo piece of shit Herman. I don't think he should even be in the fucking league anymore, but whatever.
Here is MLB.
He has a chance to be in their rotation, I guess. When the guy is healthy, he can pitch, but he's just he's a scumbag of a human being. And then their bullpen, I don't know, man. Obviously, Chapman is still there. He still throws like a jillion miles an hour, but he sucked a little bit last year. Zach Britton is not what Zach Britton used to be, but he's still there. Chad Green can pitch at times. He got streaky. Darren O'Day.
He got rocked in the playoffs, but
yeah, I don't know. There are question marks up and down this lineup. Gary Sanchez, whether or not he can actually hit in the
but I think they have the
least
amount of question marks then.
Nah, their lineup's gross. Like you have Luke Voigt and DJ LeMahieu, who were two of the best hitters in the league last year. And Gio Urshela, you never know.
Stanton and Judge, who were just
MVP candidates every year.
Right.
When they're healthy. Clint Frazier looks great. Mike Tauchman just comes out of nowhere all the time. Aaron Hicks can do things from time to time. They're built deep, and there's a chance the only thing is that they don't stay healthy. So as long as they can stay healthy, they're walking away with this division. If not, who knows?
I think that the Jays could easily get it though, right? Like as you said, there was nothing in that, that Yankees team that was a surefire close down the inning, right? Like you said, Zach Britton is not what Zach Britton was. This team can definitely get to him. This team can definitely get to Chapman, right? Fastball hitter, man. Like, go ahead, throw your 100 miles. Like these kids are ready for it. They're seeing it, and if they can see it and get hold of it, then perfect. That's a matchup made in heaven. If that's supposed to be your eighth, your close down guy, and the Jays just continue to get bats around.
Fine with it. Just a chance. I think the Jays have a chance to take the division. Not a good one, but a little.
No.
Let's do some awards for fun. We're not going to do all of them.
No. Let's do 4 of them.
I was just thinking we do the MVP, the Cy Young. I think that maybe Rookie of the Year, but I don't know enough rookies to actually.
I don't know rookies. So
we'll just do MVP, Cy Young.
I know 0. So 4.
And World Series winner. We'll do our World Series picks.
Okay.
We'll start off with the MVP because that's the award that matters. I wrote myself twice in here. Who are you taking? AL first, MVP.
It's too easy to say Mike Trout.
Yeah.
It's always too easy to say Mike Trout. But I feel like we've always said it's too easy to say Mike Trout.
Yeah, and he never gets it.
So I'm going to say that the Angels' success in winning the division will be because of Mike Trout, and they will finally grant him with that MVP that they will no longer say Mike Trout.
That's fair. Now, if I'm making a realistic pick, I am also going to say Mike Trout. And I don't know how serious I am about this, but I legitimately think if Vladimir Guerrero can continue to do what he's doing and, he's healthy enough, that kid and the Jays actually push themselves to, a 98-win team.
There. You're not going to say it. That's going to get clipped. You're going to put it on the internet.
Book it, man. I don't know. I think.
Book it.
The kid.
I want it in a full sentence. I want it in a full sentence.
Your sound is going to shit for a second.
Okay, sorry.
I, Brantabo, think Vladdy Jr. will at least be top 5 MVP voting this year. If he continues to look like the player he is in spring training. Because, just all the adjustments he made in the offseason, he just looks like a better baseball player. And if that guy's rolling, the Jays are rolling. So, he's not my pick. It's Mike Trout because I just can't go against Mike Trout.
Fair.
But I think don't be shocked if Vladdy G is top 5, at least in MVP voting.
Mm-hmm.
Who you got in the NL?
I do want to say Mookie Betts. I don't know why.
Okay.
But I feel like that's just easy to say. Even though he didn't
Right.
win it last year.
I wasn't gonna say Mookie, so if you want to say
You're
Mookie,
not going to say Mookie? I'd like to say Mookie. I like Mookie Betts. I like the way he plays.
okay.
I think that he's incredibly talented. I think somebody that could rival him, which I've always kind of pushed for, is Corey Seager. I think if Corey Seager is healthy, he could have a real MVP season.
Okay. Hey, man.
I
Everyone's
love
got to have a
his game.
take.
I don't know what about it. I just think Corey Seager's dynamite, and I think that he could really he just needs to be healthy to show exactly how good he is, especially in that team.
Okay.
And you kind of get overshadowed, right, with the Bellingers and the Betts and the Turners,
Yeah.
the Muncies, everybody else.
I think that's kind of why it takes away from his MVP case, personally.
Yeah.
But
no, I'd say
if I'm taking a guy, I'm going to take one that has a lot of fun, could be a top 3 player in baseball, in Fernando Tatis Jr. I know it's an easy narrative because everyone just wants to say he's just the face of baseball, because he kind of is. And I don't think there's any way around that. The guy's electric. He's good defensively, good offensively. If he can manage to stay healthy, I think he's easily in that MVP race. So I'm going to take him for fun.
I love it. I actually had a feeling that you would.
Yeah.
It was him
I like
or Acuna Jr.
Acuna's fun. Yeah. Soto's another one. Like, it's going to go to a child this year, I feel like. It's going to go to someone under the age of 23.
That's funny.
I feel it.
Okay.
Cy Young. Start with the AL.
You want to start with the AL?
Yeah.
A lot of me wants to say Ryu, and I don't.
I love it. I love the hometown bias.
Yeah, that's definitely my hometown bias pick.
Man, the guy did heat up down the stretch last year, and he was
he's
better in the back half of the season.
He's just such a gamer.
Yeah.
He plays for every game. He strategizes incredibly well, right? He's a very smart, intelligent pitcher when he approaches up there, right? He never tries to beat you with overpowering stuff. He beats you with placement every single time.
Yeah,
and he fools you up. All of his pitches move. Tell me how you hit that.
Oh,
how do you
he's a really good pitcher. That's all it is. He doesn't throw the hardest. He just does his job, and he's smarter than you.
Yeah, I never would count out Shane Bieber again, just because he's gonna need to take that horse and run with it in order to be anything good. So don't count him out either. But yeah.
So who are you going with officially?
I'm gonna say Ryu officially.
All right.
Just to have the hometown bias in there.
Okay, I'm cool with that. I am gonna go against both the things you said there, just for fun. I think it's probably Shane Bieber, but maybe Shane Bieber doesn't replicate what he does last year. I think Lucas Giolito. I've been riding the White Sox.
Wow.
And I think Lucas Giolito has a chance. I think he's healthy, right? I kind of vaguely remember him getting hurt now. But.
Makes his pick, doesn't know if he's healthy.
Yeah.
Like it.
I think
Good take.
He's fine.
No,
he's good. I think Lucas Giolito's going to take a step this year. I don't know. I think he's a really good pitcher. It's kind of all it is. Like, you're choosing between aces in him, Bieber, and Ryu. Like, I think it's between them and maybe Garrett Cole for who wins the AL Cy Young. I don't think there's no dark horse in the AL that I'm looking at.
I don't know why I don't like Garrett Cole, but
I just don't like him as a person.
I don't like Garrett Cole. Just his overall face.
Need some grit, man.
Yeah, for sure. Bro.
I'm gonna go Giolito just cause. NL.
I'm still kind of. Your pick is that dead easy?
It's dead easy. I am not going away from the man that wins it every single year.
Then you should go for it. Say it.
Jacob deGrom. Man. Jacob deGrom is the biggest lock for any award of all time because apparently he's throwing significantly harder than he did last year, and he's just looks better.
That's actually exactly what I was going to say. Was Jacob deGrom.
No chance am I going away from Jacob deGrom. This is the biggest slam dunk pick of any of them.
See, I dabbled with a Max Scherzer, but I looked at his numbers last year, and they were not great. So I'm going to actually agree with you on this one and say Jacob deGrom.
It's kind of
because he was hot. You can put in brackets Max Scherzer if you want or something.
Okay.
Because my little backup, maybe as my little
thought about Max Scherzer. If deGrom gets hurt, this is the way.
Still thinking about it. Yeah, but no, I completely agree with deGrom, and that rotation's dangerous, man. When you see him out there, and they're now a bit of a feared team for sure. They think they are, anyways, right?
Yep. Who are your 2 World Series teams? Who's the matchup for you?
Ooh. I'd kind of like to see. I'd like to see the. I'm kind of agreeing with you with the White Sox would be nice, just as like a new team.
I think it's possible, man. They look good last year, and I think they're only getting better.
Yeah, absolutely. I could definitely see them. I wouldn't be upset. I obviously wouldn't be too mad if the Jays got in there.
Oh no, God no.
Come
October, there's a chance that like we can go there.
Oh,
I'm just saying, it's gonna be a hell of a party if the Jays can make it there in October.
Oh man, I definitely don't want to see the Astros.
No.
Oh, you know what though? No, the final answer for me is the New York Yankees. They're too good. I'm gonna put the Yankees. The pinstripes are gone back. They haven't been.
They can't win in the playoffs.
No, I don't know why. What's the deal?
I don't know. And NL side, and I'm assuming also the World Series winner.
You think so for real?
I don't think an AL team wins it this year, but
no, I think it's going to be the Dodgers again. The Dodgers are my pick.
Okay, and they're your winner too, I'm assuming.
They are my winner again. They're going back to back.
Okay.
Why does baseball suck? Why can't they just be even?
I do have a different final than you, which is cool.
I know you do. That's cool.
I think it's the White Sox coming out of the AL.
Okay. I figured.
Like I said, I think they're deep and they're older now and they're more mature, and I think they're gonna have a big year.
Do you think I know you as a sportsman? Do you think I could guess your pick?
I almost guarantee you can pick. Go for it.
The Padres.
It is the San Diego Padres on the other side.
What a shock. We only talked about 4 teams, so.
It's boring for me to say the Dodgers. I think it's either the Dodgers or the Padres, and I don't think there's anyone else. And I just think the Padres have something to prove after last year. Hopefully they're healthy enough by the time it gets down to the finals there that they can – actually, it'd probably be second round again because they're in the same division. Right. So when they face the Dodgers, hopefully they're healthy enough to give them another run and win. They were close this year, but who knows? Maybe they're a little –
They've made some good moves, I think, to help with that run anyways, and hopefully you remain healthy or are healthy enough to go head-to-head with them because the Dodgers just somehow stay pretty healthy all the way through. I don't get it, but it's like they almost don't get with the injury bug when it comes playoff time.
It's crazy.
Everybody's good to go. Corey Seager comes back and just lights it out.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever I can't remember. I think Bellinger was hurt the one year, but he played through it. But I can't remember a time where they've lost a big name in the playoffs. Nothing comes to mind. I'm obviously picking the Padres over the White Sox. I trust the White Sox. I just don't trust them enough to win.
You just really trust them.
I just think that they just have a weaker stop in the AL where they don't really have to go through anyone. So
I like it.
I think they get the 1 seed in the AL, take the wild card team, which is probably going to be the Jays, and I think they walk the Jays. So
give me a good year though. For sure.
Should be good. It's fun. There's a lot of really interesting teams. We spent a good chunk of time on baseball. Look at us go. First time in a while.
We can just run through quick because I got a jet real soon.
Yeah, I don't have much to say in the NFL. Juju Smith-Schuster went back to the Steelers. Good.
On a 1-year deal.
I didn't want to see him anywhere else. I'm just happy hating him where he's at because I don't like the team. I don't like the player. Plain and simple.
That's kind of a no trust deal too. That's like a you prove it, we'll prove it.
Took less money to go to Pittsburgh too. He had bigger offers from Baltimore and Kansas City, and he said no to both of them to go back to Pittsburgh.
Wow.
I respect the respect he has for the Steelers.
Yep.
Don't respect the guy though. So
especially without knowing what Big Ben's going to do, they brought in Dwayne Haskins, who's not terrible, but hasn't found a way to be a professional yet.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we'll see. My second favorite story of the week. Chicago let go of Mitchell Trubisky. They let him walk to free agency so that they could replace him with Andy Dalton. Because that's the biggest upgrade they could find, apparently. Apparently, they offered 3 firsts and 2 roster players for Russ Wilson, and Seattle said no. So Russell Wilson's not going anywhere if that's the offer they got and he's not moving.
They don't want him.
It's going to be hilarious to see Andy Dalton trying to man that offense. That was already not great. They franchise tag Robinson, but he hasn't signed it yet. And then, Mitch Trubisky then went and signed a deal with the Buffalo Bills, which doesn't make sense. Doesn't make any sense to me for Mitch Trubisky because you're not going to play ever.
He's hoping that Josh Allen gets hurt. That's it. That's all you're hoping for.
If Josh Allen gets hurt, the Bills are done. Nobody can do what Josh Allen can do, man. Good Lord. It's just that the move doesn't make sense for the Bills. Doesn't make sense for Trubisky. I just didn't really get it. But, hey, have fun over there.
Honestly, I think a lot of these quarterbacks who struggle at starters are trying to do the Teddy Bridgewater where they come in for 5 games.
Yeah.
You get a deal. Like
that what he did with the Saints there.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? It was he had 5 games where he rolled. He was 5-0, and that gave everybody
team.
Right, and that gave everybody a chance. You know what? Maybe he can play. Let's give him the opportunity. Yeah. And
he's okay.
Carolina,
he's just not good.
Carolina bit on it, and but it's tough to then go 5 games to 16 games, and now they're going into 17 this year. Yeah. So good luck. Yeah.
But my actual favorite storyline. I don't know if you heard this. The Rams. So they acquired Matt Stafford a couple weeks ago, right?
Right. Yeah.
For Jared Goff, and at the time, Michael Brockers was pumped about it, and he didn't have very kind things to say about Jared Goff. He basically said that Matt Stafford is a significant upgrade over Jared Goff, and they're really happy to have a better quarterback in the system.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Brockers just got traded to Detroit. So that guy you're talking all sorts of shit about, he's now your quarterback again. Welcome back to the Jared Goff Show, Michael Brockers.
And they have probably one of the most intense coaches. I don't know if you ever heard his speech for his induction as a coach, but he basically said, "Well, you're gonna punch,
they're gonna,
and then we're gonna get back up again, and then you're gonna knee us in the mouth, and then we're gonna get back up again and punch you on the way up, and then you're gonna push us down, and then we're gonna get up and nibble your kneecap off." It was the most interesting press conference I've ever seen.
Scary.
And
just
now you have
scary
players that don't like each other. Well, maybe, who knows? But yeah, that's hilarious. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
The funniest storyline of the week for me, honestly. I loved every second of it.
My quarterback.
Yeah, that's really all I wanted to talk about in the NFL. I got nothing left.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning into us in the begining of a week. We're gonna try and actually, this is the end of the week now.
This is the end of the week. Wow, you were way
we had 2 episodes in a week. So we're gonna try and continue that onwards. Keep your ears open for us early in the week and late in the week. I'm not gonna commit to days because
eyes peeled because Brant doesn't know them. Just every day is the same.
I forgot that today was Friday.
That's awesome.
But yeah, thanks for listening. Catch us end of every week. Follow us at the BnB pod _ on Instagram and Twitter. Follow us at the BnB podcast on TikTok. That's where we have the most fun anyways. Check us out.
Please join us. Join us every week.
I love it. theasports.com. Find more content. Get some merch. All that fun stuff. We'll catch you sometime next week.